Hello, Soul Kin, and welcome back to some Don Brigger Tarot today with your host, Carmilla, per usual. I am so excited. I've been doing some good work with the Don Brigger spiritual team, which is my spiritual team, and I am just so happy. It just seems like the energies that we're going to be working with this week are very yummy. So let's get into that. We have our general reading today. We have our 4 piles per usual, but before we hop into the piles, let's talk about our web this week. So it seems like our web is bringing in this energy of career transitions and changing. There seems to be a lot shifting and a lot changing. So if there's anything that you have been manifesting in the realm of money or career or change in that realm, it seems like that's going to be coming through or starting to trickle in this week in a higher way. I feel like for a lot of us, it's been trickling in energetically, and we've just been waiting for the material world to kind of catch up, because, there's a lot of energies that play, right? We have the planets, we have, all this astrology and the stars and, Mother Earth and what she's doing and the collective, humanity as a collective and things like that. So there's just a lot of energy and a lot of stuff that we're doing. And we can't really change how things unfold. We just make our decisions and, base our actions on how things are unfolding in our lives, So a lot of times it's kind of a struggle when you feel these energies and they're really deep in your body and you feel these changes, but you're not seeing them yet in the physical realm. And that's because a lot of times the physical realm is the densest layer that you have to get through, or that we have to, embody. So a lot of times it's just a lot slower than the other energies that you're working with, like the mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy, right? All right. So let me show you the cards that we have this week. So for this week, our chakra wisdom cards, we have the 6th chakra, the 3rd eye chakra, with wisdom and discernment. Go ahead and read that. And then our Moonology card for our web, we have new moon in Libra with a new romantic cycle begins. And you can take that for face value or you cannot. A lot of times that card speaks to me and it doesn't have anything to do with romance, and it'll be more of a balancing. It has a lot to do with boundaries, and it has a lot to do with indecision, or finally making a decision, or making a informed decision, justifiable decision, something in that realm. And then for the bottom deck of my spiritual team, we have the 3 of Swords with it is happening for you, not to you. Practice your healing modalities. I love you. So I love you is I love you. Carmilla loves you, but also the Don Brigger spiritual team loves you. But also that is for you to say, hey, I love myself. So take a moment to say you love you. For sure. It's worth it. So we have the Whispers of the Oceans coming out this week as well, which is super interesting. And I feel like the Aquarius new moon pulled this out. I was like, why are we using this energy today? And it was Aquarius new moon. I'm like, oh, the water bearer, of course. So we have 6 with looking at the underbelly. Be sure that you're using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider taking time to organize yourself, or perhaps a project you're working on could use some fine tuning. And that was one of the cards that kind of like solidified that feeling that I was getting. Like there's some career transitions happening this week. This week there's some people finally deciding that, they found their purpose, or this is something that they actually want to do. Like, how do I want to be in service to humanity is the energy that I'm feeling. People are really questioning are their career choices in the path that they're following, their habits and behaviors especially, are they actually in line with the way that they want to show up in our physical reality? It's a really beautiful energy. And as you can see, for a bottom deck this week, we have a blank medicine shield. And I tried to channel and see what energy we had for this blank, but my spiritual team came through and really said it is for the viewer to really tap into and think and feel what medicine will help you this week. How can we serve you this week? How can we be of service to you this week? So that is why we have a blank medicine shield, because they are leaving the energy open to your interpretation. So I'm actually going to have to sit down after this reading and see what medicine I need for this week. So I really hope you do as well. Kind of tap into your healing modalities like we got with that 3 of Swords, and see what it is that you're needing. So let me know down in the comments what that is. I would love to know, like, if there's an animal, a particular animal, or some type of object or item that pops up in the shield for you. I would love to know. So this week we will be using the Osho Zen Tarot deck. I love this deck. It's a really, really cool one. It's a lot more straightforward and more, I don't want to say realistic, but more humanly confronting than a lot of the other tarot decks. So I'm excited. This week we have our 4 piles. We have Celestite on pile 1. I love this stone. A really special person gave that to me, so I appreciate it a lot. Sorry if it loses focus, you know it does that. And then we have Amy, my amethyst shard. There we go. On group 2. And then we have the honey calcite for group 3. And then we have our clear quartz, group 4. So go ahead and take a moment to sit with the piles, sit with the energy of the crystals, do whatever little witchy thing you got to do to get into the mood, and I, my friend, will see you in your reading. Hello for all of our friends who chose the Celestite for their reading today, or pile 1. This will be your reading. So as always, we'll jump into your power animal first. We have our oracle cards a little bit later, but let's see what you got today for your reading. What energy, what animal is coming through to support you this week? I like to hold the suspense just a little bit, you know. we have mouse. Okay, so this is actually pretty funny, and this is actually pretty easy. Mouse is saying that you are too focused on the small things in a very, very big world, and Mouse wants you to pay attention to the really, really big things. The big things that you are capable of achieving because you're a human being. Now, there's an energy here that it feels like there's a lot of people here who idolize certain people, certain places, certain things, certain beings. So it's like you idolize someone or somebody. And by you idolizing that person or that thing or that place, what Mouse is saying is you idolize them, but you create a separation that says that person or that place or that thing is more valuable than me because it has done more. It has more to give. So what Mouse is saying to you is that it is very important for you to place the same value on yourself that you place on beings that you idolize. So let's use just anybody for example. If you are a huge fan of Michael Jackson and you're like, oh my God, Michael Jackson is amazing. Look at what, he accomplished in his life. You see him as more valuable because of his money, because of the money that he made, because of, the assets that he acquired, because of his fan base, because of how large his reach was. And what Mouse wants to tell you this week is that if you have that same dream inside of you, it is very, very, very possible. Like, Mouse wants you to dream big. Mouse wants you to take the small things that you have around you that you're so focused on and use them as tools to build the large thing, So imagine when you're building, structures and stuff, you still use very, very small things, planks, boards, nails, different types of things in order to build a very large thing. So this is what Mouse is saying. Mouse is saying that the small things that you're so focused on and you see them as just tools, as just ingredients, they are the exact thing that you need to create the large thing. So stop looking at yourself as this disproportionate, spun out of, like, stop looking at yourself as this unorganized person who doesn't have it all together. What Mouse is saying is that you literally have everything you need right now, and as you progress on your journey, you will have everything you need. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who is watching this will want to be as large as Michael Jackson or something like that, but if you have a large dream, whatever that dream is, starting your own charity, starting your own there's a friend of mine that's coming through right now. This, if she watches this, is probably her pile. But starting your own sanctuary, like an animal sanctuary, even if you have a dream of being a politician, I feel like there's a politician coming through, president, a doctor, a well-renowned doctor or something like that, or someone who invents something new, or just goes on to do something very large and something very new that kind of transforms a scene or an industry. You have that ability. You have that power within you. Mouse is saying you literally can do that, but you have to recognize all the small things that are around you that you can actually use. But besides like focusing on them as small things, see them as small things that are so much larger, that are part of something that is so much larger than what you perceive it to be. Just like there was this meme that I saw the other day, it was freaking hilarious, but it was like, I hate when I go in my kitchen and when I'm hungry and all I find are ingredients. Like, I die laughing because it's so funny, but that is literally the message of your reading group 1. This is going into your kitchen and realizing that you literally have all the ingredients to make a very large meal, but you just have to recognize that you have the ingredients and that the ingredients can actually be used to make something very delicious and very tasty. So if you have some aspiration to do something big, something large in this world, there's a reason why you have that desire, and that desire can only come from you. That thing inside of you that is thriving and is alive can only come from you, and Spirit is trying to pull that out of you, and your calling is always going to keep calling you. So you never have to fear that you'll lose your passion or something like that. If your passion changes or transition or shifts, that just means that whatever you felt before was just a milestone or just like a stepping stone to get you to where you're going, right? But if you do have a big dream, just know that it is possible through you, and really you are the only person that can bring that to life. There's a reason why it lives and thrives within you, within your heart, right? This is not for people who are doing something only based on the money or only based on something that they can acquire. Although that is super, super important, there's a level of passion and heart that has to be in it, that it just has to be present. It just has to be present. If it's not present, it will crumble. And it usually does. And that's because when it crumbles, you're being given an opportunity to look at your landscape and change your perspective and just look at things differently. So if you are experiencing the crumbling of a dream, of something that you thought you wanted to achieve, but you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, or you keep pushing, you keep trying, and you're like, I gotta give it up. Sometimes it is important to do those things, to give things up. And when I say give them up, I don't mean abandon. I mean give it up. Give it up as in leave it in the hands of destiny, leave it in the hands of fate, and leave it in the hands of your passion and your heart's desire, so that we can as a collective, as a world, bring out of you exactly what it is that you are brought here to offer. Okay, so that is your medicine from Mouse this week, to recognize all the small things that are happening in your life and see them not as only small things, and not so much focus on small things, but the focus is on how all these small, beautiful things can create a very large, big thing. So that is your message from Mouse this week. And before we get into your oracle cards, let's see if there are any other messages that we have from Mouse. If there's anyone who needs a direct message, it'll come through the tarot cards per usual. All right, so we have the 5 of Swords. Jesus. See, this is why I use a tablecloth, because my nails are just so uncooperative. So we have the 5 of Swords with comparison coming out, like I was picking up earlier, like comparing yourself to somebody you idolize, and this is in reverse. And then we also have the 3 of Wands with experiencing coming out. What a beautiful card. I love the Osho Zen deck so freaking much. And we also have that coming out. And let's see what else we get. And I would love to shuffle on camera, but when I shuffle on camera, I start to like hit my like phone holder and stuff, and it starts like twerking, and I'm just like, I don't feel like dealing. So let's see if we can get a couple more cards. Oh, okay. So we actually got more than what I wanted, but I feel their energy. I feel like there's someone here who needs this reading. So we have the King of Swords with control, and then we also have abundance with the King of Pentacles, and death with transformation. Out here we have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So honestly, what this is saying to me is that really this is about taking control over your life and what you believe is possible. That's why we have experiencing with the Three of Wands in reverse next to the comparison in reverse with the Five of Swords and the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's because over here in this energy, you're telling yourself, you're lying to yourself about what you believe is possible. But it's literally like, I feel like transformations energy is coming through and saying, look at yourself and look at the beings that you idolize. They are human too. They are human too. It's not about their astrology. It's not about a tarot reading. It's not about anything that makes them not human. They are human. And I feel like transformation is coming through, or death is coming through, because they want to change that ideology in your mind, that when you see somebody doing something that you want to do, besides using that as comparing yourself to them and what they have that you don't, change is really saying, or transformation is really saying, allow their energy to transform you, allow their energy to act as a gateway, as inspiration, as motivation, because anything that is possible by another human being is possible by you. That is exactly what transformation is bringing through today. And this is why I feel like the King of Swords came out, because the King of Swords is like, all you need is a little bit more self-control. All you need is a little bit more control over the way that you think about other people and about yourself. Okay? Because it is so important how you think about yourself. The way you think about yourself changes everything. You know? When you say, I would like to do that, but I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough skill, or I can't acquire that, I can't do that, when you say that and you think that, guess what? The universe conspires, and your body typically conspires to agree with you, right? But there are a lot of people, which I'm assuming is you too, group one, where there are a lot of people who their passion and their drive, they're just unlocked to this higher heart, and the higher heart is a higher authority. So there's almost like this authority figure inside that drives you. Your intuition pops on, and it's just like you have this feeling in your heart where you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I need to do this. I know this is for me. And the friend that I'm thinking of, I love her so much, and I really hope that she watches this reading, because I feel her energy coming through so thickly, so deeply. This is her, because she has a dream of creating this beautiful animal sanctuary, and I feel like this is the type of energy that she brings. She has this grit and this power about her where she knows exactly what she can do and what she can bring into this life. She's just trying to figure out how to do it. Okay, so if you are in a position in your life where you're like, I can't do that, and you're constantly comparing yourself to people who do, instead of being jealous and comparing yourself to them, allow them to be your gateway. Allow their energy to inspire you and tell you, you know what, I can do this. And when you allow yourself to have that kind of control over your mental space and over the way you talk to yourself, because it does take some self-discipline and it does take some work, you will absolutely transform. Allow the universe to transform you by giving the universe permission to transform you. And you give the universe permission to transform you by honoring your true desires and what you know you can bring to this earth. And what you know you can bring to this earth is your desire. Your desire is an absolute telltale sign of what it is that you can bring. If you ever want to know anything about your purpose or about growing, follow your desire. And like MF Doom said, follow your heart all the way through. Just follow it, follow your heart all the way through, group one. Okay, Take more responsibility over the way that you think, because a lot of people think that your thoughts are just these things and they come and berate you and they just challenge you and they're just in the way. But really, really, really what needs to happen is there needs to be a level of responsibility. You will be uncomfortable, you will be sad, and you're going to be angry, and your emotions are going to be doing crazy stuff. But it is so imperative, it is so important for you to have control over what you think about yourself, especially about yourself. The way that you think about yourself, and the level of courage and bravery that it takes to push past old conditioning and old thoughts and behaviors and ways that you identify is huge. But that is what transformation is about. Transformation is here to kill the old you. Transformation does not want to hang on to the old you that cannot be used in your next level of advancement. If you cannot use it in your next level of life, change doesn't want it. Death doesn't want it. It's going to die. And you are going to die. It's going to kill a part of you. It's going to kill your identity. Anything that is false, that cannot go with you, will perish. Absolutely. And you should want it to die. You should want it to die, but it's scary. It's scary because you've lived with this thing as a friend for so long. It has kept you safe. It has kept you from doing things that you thought were too scary or that you could not achieve. It has kept you locked into inadequacy, which keeps you feeling safe and comfortable. It keeps you in your comfort zone. And this week, it's like, no, that energy is coming through to be like, no. This is transformation. Something else is happening beyond your control. And this is what you really need to understand. This huge thing that you have living inside you, humanity needs. It is a necessity to humanity. Why? Because you have the King of Pentacles out here. That's why it's a necessity to humanity. Why? Because we're moving into an era now where we're working more in abundance, ease, grace, love, comfort. And we're stepping out of very, very harsh themes like pain, torment, harm, fear, resentment, anger, and frustration. And a lot of times this causes you to pass through a lot of levels of fear and a lot of levels of shadow and a lot of false identities that you've placed on yourself to help you navigate your workspaces and your family dynamics and your friend dynamics, because we have a lot of faces, don't we? We have a lot of them. But I feel like this week's energy, especially with the King of Swords out here, you are being asked to get control over all these faces, and you're being asked to lay rest to all these faces that are not part of the new you and the future that you are creating for you and your family and the collective, humanity. What can you bring out of you that can help heal humanity? That is what's going on for you this week, Group 1. And obviously this theme is probably going to follow you, the rest of this year. I feel like a lot of times these readings are super potent. I'm like, wow, 7 days, But this is going to trickle in a way where it almost seems unsubtle. It feels like it's going to trickle. It's a trickle type energy where you're going to be working all this energy to stop looking so far for it. Like some person to swoop down or like God to come. No. Like really, it takes the people around you that are already around you, that are already in your bubble, that are already in your comfort zone to help break you out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you use the environment that you're already in, the people and the roles that they're playing, the places and the roles that they're playing. Everything that you already need is already around you. It's you. The universe uses stuff that's immediate. We want instant manifestation, right? But the universe is always like, it's right here. If you want to learn something new, learn from the people that are already around you. Learn from yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really want to say to you, Group 1, don't look so far for something outside of you as well to come save you, or some big boom or some big type of manifestation. Like stop expecting it to be something that you're not already familiar with. You know what I'm saying? Like the universe is going to use the people, places, and things that are already around you, that you already know, that you're already familiar with, to help transform you. Okay? That is something that I feel like Group 1 needs to hear. So, moving forward, let's see what energy you have in your oracle cards this week. So, for your chakra wisdom this week, Group 1, we have Unconditional love. Yes, 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 yes. Unconditional love for you. Knowing that anything that is possible by somebody else is possible by you, you know? You don't have to lock yourself into this inadequacy. Love every part of you so every part of you can be shown to this beautiful world. We need you, you know? Fourth chakra, heart chakra with unconditional love. I allow myself to be open to giving and receiving love without fear of rejection. Without fear of rejection, I don't know why I say it like that. I give without expecting recognition or acknowledgement in return. When I am loving to others, I am helping bring out the innate love within them so they also feel uplifted, worthy, and cared for. I love myself the way I am, not the way I was or could be, and I extend this love to others. I teach others how to love and respect me by how I love and respect myself. Exactly. That's the age that we're moving into. You know, this is the age that we're moving into. Abundance, unconditional love, respect, ease, grace, comfort. And in order for you to truly tap into that energy in a big way, you have to tap into that energy for yourself. Okay? So stop the focus on the small things and notice how the small things are creating something so much larger. And then our Moonology card for this week, the energy from the moon for you, we have... Look at that, group one. What is that? Believe in the freaking impossible. You are the impossible, my love. You are that. You are absolutely freaking that. You are the impossible. You are the impossible. Of course, exactly like I was saying. And then the message we have this week from the Dawnbringer spiritual team is... Two of Cups with I need to say. I respond openly and maturely to conflict. Together, we can overcome any difficulty. So if there are any of you out there who some of these small things might be confrontations with other people, go ahead and handle them maturely and don't think too deeply about them. Don't try to cut anything too deep. Don't try to work anything too deep. Take it as it is and work through it how you can. Don't be so hard on yourself, and also don't be so hard attached or focused on the outcome either. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of times with these like emotional connections here, with like if you're having conflict with another person or there's like a type of like conflicting situation, sometimes we can get so attached to, oh, how is this going to affect this person, or how is this going to affect, you know, this person's future, or how this person views me. And a lot of times you gotta take a step back from that and be like, hey, like I can't change, I cannot alter, you know, what this person is thinking or saying or doing as well. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel like for a lot of you too, with this I need to say, I respond openly and maturely to conflict. I feel like with this internal battle that you're having between what is my value, how do I use my value, and comparing it to others, I feel like this is where control is coming in too, and saying, hey, like this energy, this constant like this constant energy struggle that you're having is tainting your perception in a way that is not allowing you to see the things that you can actually achieve, because you're too busy battling with old conditioning and the new that's trying to come in. Old conditioning that's saying, I must conform, I must be likable, I must be like these people, I must do this, I must do that. Always stretching something outside of you, and so focused on the small, minute things that you feel like you need to change in order to fit in or be more likable or something like that. And you have this other part of you that is like, bro, I don't even care. You know, like the other part of you that gets a lot more sassy. So I feel like this is also just kind of like coming in as the King of Swords in your own mental space and calling a truce between these two energies in you that are battling, your duality, your polarity. So finding wholeness and being that sword bearer that comes in, that's just like, you know what? We're drawing a truce right here. This is how we're going to agree. You know, and that is tapping into that Three of Swords energy too, tapping into your own healing modalities. You know what I'm saying? And how can you heal yourself? And then also that third eye chakra energy that we talked about earlier with wisdom and discernment. Being honest with yourself, being open to understanding what is actually happening in your body. So let's get into your Whispers of the Oceans card and see what energy is bringing to your week. We have be insightful and established with number 49. I feel like that's important to somebody. Ground and rebalance your energy. Bring your awareness into the now rather than allowing it to occupy the past or the future. I love that energy. I love that energy, especially paired with believe in the impossible and knowing what it is right now that you have, that you can bring to the table, that can create this big dream that you have. So that is really just reinforcing that energy in what we were talking about earlier, where you have all these ingredients right now in front of you. You have all that you need. It's about using that to build whatever this dream is, right? Right. Cool. Beautiful reading, group 1. I would love to know how this energy is affecting you this week, how mouse energy is coming through. Always too, look out for mouse energy, or even whatever animal that comes through the reading for you this week. Look out for their imagery throughout your life too. I feel like a lot of times when I pick a certain animal to work with that week, I'll hear like little noises from them, or I'll get gifts from them, or I'll just feel them spiritually, or I'll like be scrolling like social media and I'll just randomly see them or something like that. So watch out too and analyze what you're thinking at that time, or like maybe the caption of a meme or a video or something like that. There's always answers, help, guidance all around you all the time. It is always there, group 1. Just want you to know that and remember that. As always, if the reading did not resonate, that is absolutely okay. Take what did and the rest will fall away. You are not obligated to hold on to anything, my dear, that is not yours, okay? All right, so if you do enjoy my energy and vibe, go ahead and like this video and consider subscribing. It does help me grow and flourish as a channel, and that is really, really cool. I want to, help as many as people as possible with my readings and my ferocity. So, of course, go ahead if you would like, obviously. So I really, really do hope you enjoyed this reading this week, and I hope to see you next week. And for any of the other readings I have popping up this week, I have some pretty fun stuff in store. So I will see you next time, group 1. Ciao. Bye-bye. I don't know why I said ciao. Just ignore the ciao. Hello, group 2, for all of our friends who chose Amy or our amethyst shard. Today, this will be your 7 days ahead reading, so I'm so excited. So as always, we'll get into your oracle cards a little bit later, and let's hop into the animal that is coming through and supporting you through this week, bringing you some energy, and what message they have for you. Let's see. Oh, we have blue heron. Cool. I actually really love this card because this is like my hermit card. This is the hermit energy for me all the way. I pull this card a lot for myself sometimes, and I usually pull it in reverse because this is one of those energies where it's literally telling you to like bring your head above water. Stop overthinking, overanalyzing, or trying to like use self-reflection as a way to distract yourself from enjoying the world and experiencing the world. I feel like a lot of times with this hermit energy, what people like to do is they like to go in there. We like to self-reflect because we want to fix, we want to heal. Why? Because we want better lives, and we want to offer better energy for the people that we love, the people that we're around, are for the world as a collective, as a collective being, as a planet, as an animal. We just want to offer better energy. And sometimes we go in to self-reflect, and sometimes we go in there and we get really nitpicky, and we don't allow ourselves to come up for air or to come out unless a lot of times when we go into deep self-reflection, we don't allow ourselves to come out without some type of like reward system, right? Like, if I heal enough and then I can come out and do this thing, but until I do this thing first, this thing cannot come into being. You see what I'm saying? So what is really coming through, Blue Heron is saying growth and healing and expansion. Your past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. And I know that's crazy, and I know it sounds crazy, and it sounds crazy to say, but Blue Heron is really saying that these things are all happening simultaneously in the present moment, you know? Like, your past is still here. Why? Because you have memories, and you're using the lessons of your past as material for your present moment, as material for creating in your present moment what you can create in the future. Right? So that's why we do a lot of self-reflecting, because we go back into the past and we sort through the material, and we go through what's clean, you know, what's good, what can we still use, and what's not, what needs to die, what needs to go, what can we toss away, what can go and be recycled. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Blue Heron energy this week is coming through with a message of guiding you out of this deep down, or this deep reflective energy, or this constant like, I'm not ready. I keep hearing someone saying, I'm not ready, but I'm not ready, but I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not ready. But you're absolutely ready. You've been ready this entire time. It was just you getting to the point where you can decide that you are ready. And I feel like your energy, or like your higher authority, your inner being, your higher self, that's the word, is really saying, no, you are ready. I'm here. Like, you're ready. Your ego is constantly going to tell you that you're not ready, because what the ego likes to do, a lot of people misconstrue the ego and try to say that the ego is this thing that inflates and is really big, and the ego does have the ability to do that. It does do that on occasion, but the ego also shrinks. Okay? The ego also shrinks, and the ego is also that thing that tells you, you know, maybe not, this is kind of scary. You know, the ego also controls that type of shrinking response too, that tells you that you're inadequate and that you're not good enough to do whatever it is that you're thinking or you're doing. What is happening when it comes to the human existence is you shrink, you contract, and you expand like a lung. You're breathing. Your experience is a breathing experience. It's the rhythm of our universe, this expansion and this contraction, expansion and this contraction. So what happens with the ego is when it sees something that it feels like it can't defeat, it's like, oh, no. And it closes, you know? And when it sees something that it's like, oh, I can deal with this, I can surmount, it's like, blah, 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 blah. And it gets really big. And it's like, oh, you know, that's no problem for me. So it's always doing this dance of expansion and contraction. You're always going to be a part of this dance, okay? It's a beautiful dance to be had. You know what I'm saying? But it's also, it all depends on how you dance with it, how you tap into the rhythm. It could feel like you're constantly being stretched and pulled apart and you're kicking and screaming, or you can relax into it and remember that you cannot stay in contraction for too long. You cannot stay in this self-reflection for too long. If you're getting all this material, guess what? You have this surplus of material. It creates an imbalance. So you have this surplus of creative flow, but now you're standing around and mad and resentful at everybody because there's no demand for your creative flow that you have been hoarding. Okay? So that creates this imbalance, and that creates this resentment, level of resentment that throws you into lack. Like, what is wrong with me? Why am I not enough? No, baby, you are enough. You are absolutely enough. That is not the question here at all. What is happening is the world has to catch up to you now because you've been in such a deep contraction, and you've been building all these things and creating all these things and gaining all this creative knowledge and all these creative ideas. Now the world has to catch up and tap into a demand for what it is that you're bringing. And that is exactly what is happening here. Blue Heron is telling you to take your head out of the dang sand, get your head out of that dang water, and it's time to share and give to the universe and give to the people around you in the collective energy. Just tap into this collective energy. Call in the people who are ready to receive you. And by you giving whatever it is to the world that you're giving, by you physically manifesting and producing that. And what I say by manifesting, I mean taking the materials that you have inside of you and giving them life. The materials that you have inside of you are your compassion, your desire, your passion, your creative ability, your creative flow. So if there's something you want to draw, a song you want to sing, that is you physically manifesting. You are materializing. That is what you are doing, you know. There are a lot of sides to manifesting and magic and things like that. And you have to understand that you are one of those. You are the magician in this, okay? So this is just Blue Heron is really just letting you know you are the magician in this energy. You expand when you need to expand, you contract when you need to contract, but you got to remember that there has to be a balance. If there's not a balance, it will create an imbalance. So I feel like for our group 2 people this week, you're going to be challenged with exposing yourself, being vulnerable, and bringing all these creative things that you brought to life to life. You brought them to life inside of you. They thrive. You want to experience them. You want other people to experience them. Now it's time to put that into physical action. So that is the energy we have coming through this week for you Blue Heron people. So let's get you a few tarot cards to see if there's any other clarification on this energy. If there's anybody out there who needs a very, very personal message directed at them. You know, sometimes the cards will come through and let you know, like, hey, like, this is the energy. So we have comparison coming out again. Comparison, which is the 5 of Swords, the Osho Zen deck, and we do have it in reverse again. So I'm seeing this week, like I was saying, it seems like a very like career-based energy we have going on this week, or like being, what can I bring to humanity? What can I bring to the world? You know, and I feel like a lot of times as a human being, when you think about that, a lot of times you think, well, what is it that I can bring that somebody else has not already brought? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the energy that we have here. Okay, we have a lot of cards coming out. So we have the Queen of Swords, which we just got the King, which is crazy, with morality in reverse. I can tell you already right now, if there's anything that like, if there's anything where you've done in your past that is like not aligned with your new moral compass, you have to let that go. You have to allow yourself to change, even if other people don't. You have to allow, like, this once a something, always a something is BS. It's BS. You're shutting yourself out of a beautiful level of healing and unconditional love when you do that to yourself. You shut yourself out from this harmony that you're actually actively trying to tap into. You're trying to tap into the flow of the universe, into your own harmony, into your own rhythm, in your own dance. And when you don't allow yourself to do that because of your past, guess what? This is in reverse. But I feel it. I feel your desire so bad for it to be upright. I feel your desire so bad. It's like a hunger. It's a crying out. You are so desperately wanting to tap into that flow. And of course, we have the Ace of Cups with going with the flow out here. Of course we have that. Of course we do. And we also have projections, the 7 of Cups in reverse. Yep, right over that Queen of Swords. And then we also have awareness. Oh my God. And then we also have guilt. Guilt. And I wanted to check bottom deck for you. I didn't check bottom deck in the other reading. It didn't feel aligned, and that's why I want to check bottom deck. We have the 3 of Pentacles with guidance. So the awareness card in this deck is the 7th card, which is basically the Chariot in typical, normal tarot. So I really love the Osho Zen deck when it comes out. So this is what I'm saying here. You probably see the same thing that I'm seeing already. So the awareness card is basically saying you have an awareness of this thing. You know how capable you are of achieving this level of harmony. There's just a lot of things that are happening inside of you that are not allowing you to tap into this reach. And you have to take responsibility for the fact that you are deciding. It is you, my dear, who is deciding to not tap into this energy. You are making that decision. You have the awareness. Spirit is basically saying, since you have the awareness, there's nothing I can do for you. And Spirit is not saying there's nothing I can do for you, as in I won't do anything for you, but there's nothing in your life that I can change or shift to make you see something that they are not willing to change or see or shift for your own self. If you already have awareness of it, you already have awareness of this harmony and this beautiful energy that you want to bring into your life. Spirit is like, there is no money, there is no person, there is no experience or event that I can bring into your life to help you see this any clearly than what it already is. Spirit is saying, if I am telling you that you get to decide when you are ready to continue on through your healing journey and reach new heights and have new experiences, then you're gonna have to get your head out of the sand and tap into the flow. How do you tap into the flow? You let the old go. Stop comparing your journey to others and let the old go. You have to let these old projections go. This past energy that you're projecting onto your future is doing nothing but causing you more guilt, and it is trapping you in this very, very deep contraction. Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's trapping you in this contraction, and it's trapping you in this very, very old, outdated, like, moral compass and it's a moral compass that you yourself don't even fit into. It's a moral compass that was built on a lot of stuff that does not benefit a lot of us today. You know what? I'll go ahead and say it's a moral compass that was built on things like white supremacy, okay, and like patriarchy and a lot of phobias and isms, okay? It's a moral compass that is based on very outdated standards that don't heal or help anybody but the people that currently benefit, okay? Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, take for instance, for example, someone who like really, really wants to practice body positivity, but they think that they're not beautiful enough to practice body positivity because of somebody, because of somebody in their family in the past calling them ugly and being bullied at school for being ugly or attractive, or being called ugly and attractive. And what has happened is you've internalized these own understandings within your own self. So the reason why it hurts when someone says you're ugly is because somewhere in yourself you are feeding that lie, because it is a blatant lie. But somewhere in yourself, somebody's voice is echoing, and you are deciding to agree with it. There's a part of you that doesn't want to agree, right? Because you're like, no, I don't want to be ugly. I don't want to be unattractive. I don't want to be like that. I don't. This little beautiful child like you is in there like, no, I don't want to be that. But there's this part of you that is agreeing with it. That's why it hurts so bad, because there's a part of you that's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am ugly. Maybe I am attractive, because look at my past. There you go, right there. That's how you know that you're funneling. That's how you know that you're going against the current and not going with it. But best believe that current is still going to take you regardless. You're either going to fight against it or you're going to swim with it. You have to have the courage and the bravery to move forward. You have to have the courage and bravery to move forward, and moving forward is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Why? Because you can no longer identify with the trauma that has gotten you to where you are. The reason why, if somebody wants to practice body positivity, is because in the past they were slandered with reasons why they should not be positive about their body. They were hurt, and they were told that they were unattractive. And the reason why they want to practice body positivity is because of that hurt and that pain. And when you move past that hurt and that pain, and when you forgive yourself and the others involved, that means that you can no longer use that to hurt yourself or other people. You cannot identify with it. You can't identify with the trauma. You can't identify with the pain. You can't identify with the hurt. You can't you can't project it onto other people and use it against them as a weapon. No, you cannot weaponize your trauma or your hurt or your guilt anymore. That is the biggest fear. Moving past and making that choice to say, you know what? I cannot weaponize this guilt and this trauma and this fear anymore against my own self and other people, especially the people that hurt me. And especially the people that look like and act like the people that hurt me. That is huge. That is challenging. That is scary. That is something very, very large to say and do and embody. But you have that magic why group too, because this message is coming to you right now. You have to get out of this contraction. And the only way that you're going to get out of this contraction, the blue heron energy is not going to come pluck you up out of the sand. You know, Spirit has plucked you up multiple times. Spirit has given you, look at bottom deck energy. I wanted to show you bottom deck energy for a reason. You are being guided. You are being led. I hear your spiritual team. They're like begging and pleading with you to let the past go. And by letting it go means that you no longer identify with the trauma. It is letting go of that piece of your identity and letting go of the way that you use it as a defense mechanism, a coping mechanism, and you weaponize it against other people. There are better ways to heal. There are better ways to move forward besides weaponizing everything and weaponizing the things that the torments of your past. You know? This is what you're being challenged to move through. You're literally being guided to do so. And I keep hearing Spirit say, I cannot give you anything else. I've given you everything. You know, you have the awareness. You know what is at the end of this tunnel for you. And not even at the end of this tunnel, but at this new beginning. You know the level of harmony and beauty that is available to you, but you gotta go through this to get through it. And who created that door? You created that door, because you know what? You know how important it is to you to go into this new level of awareness clean, free. You know how important it is for you to tap into this level of harmony as a free human being, a human being that is free from guilt, a human being that is free from projections of negativity. And when I say negativity, I mean someone who is taking their past, something that no longer serves them, trying to project it onto their present and their future, onto those around them. Okay? That is what I mean by that. I don't mean like negativity as in like someone just being unpleasant. What I mean is negative energy as something that is already dead, trying to revive or find some type of life. It needs a rebirth. And you know you need this rebirth, but you created this gate for yourself because you know you don't want to take this here. You don't want to take that guilt into this harmony. Actually, it won't thrive there. It does not have a leg to stand on there. It can't survive. And you know that. And you are in this current and you're gonna flow with it. And you're going to fight and it's going to be more painful and more painful. Or you're going to tap into the ease of this and know how easy it is to actually say, you know what? I don't want to identify with that trauma anymore because I don't want to project that trauma anymore. I don't want to perpetuate that trauma. I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want to bully myself. The same way the bullies bully me, I don't want to be bullied like that. Why am I doing it to myself? Why am I hanging on to my past? It doesn't serve me. It doesn't do anything but hurt me. Why am I hurting me? What joy, what pain, what pleasure do I get out of hurting me? That is something important for you to analyze, group 2. What pleasure do you get out of hurting yourself? Out of self-flagellation? Because there's some definite pleasure that you're getting out of it. Because you're identifying with something that you feel is true. And you're identifying with something that you feel is holding your life back. And there's some pleasure in that because that means you get to release control to something that is outside of you. But you really need to know and honor the fact that the power is inside of you. This is your choice. The universe can do whatever it wants on the outside in the external world. But until it reaches your core and your inner being and you decide to shift with it, the material will just be there. You know, it's like, yeah, I want to cook spaghetti. I'm going to go buy some spaghetti noodles and pasta sauce. And until you have a true craving for that spaghetti, that pasta sauce and those spaghetti noodles are just going to sit there. And that's exactly the energy that's being brought to you this week. Because there's something so much higher that can come from you. You just have way more potential than you're allowing yourself to see. So you, group 2, like to hide and contract and play small and tiny and powerless so you don't have to make decisions and so you don't have to move. But then when the world isn't moving around you and you feel stagnant, you're just like, why am I stagnant? Why am I stuck? Why am I stuck in these toxic situations, these toxic ideas and partnerships and relationships and family dynamics? Well, it's up to you, because you're making a decision to do so. You make a decision. You have to take responsibility for that. Ooh, all right, group 2. Let's get into the rest of your reading. Let's get into your oracle cards. So let's pull your chakra wisdom for this week. You have you are being called out. That is huge. You have, out of all the 50-something cards, guess what you got, group 2? Solar plexus, third chakra with freedom of choice. I have the freedom to choose. So I choose wisely because my decisions have a great impact on how I see myself and how I feel about myself. I own, accept, and express my feelings unreservedly, and I do not try to escape them with my own mind games. I have free will to choose how I respond to any situation. I choose to respond with wisdom, clarity, and understanding. Look at that, group 2. Look at that confirmation. If you needed a confirmation on this reading for you, that's it. That's it right there. And then you actually had 2 Whispers of the Oceans card, but we'll get into those a little bit later. Let's see what you have for your Moonology card this week. We have, look, listen, group 2. It's time to release negativity, my friend. It's time. It's long overdue. Full moon in Scorpio. And then your message from the Dawnbreaker spiritual team this week is the Queen of Wands. I believe in the magic of the universe and I am open to all possibilities. Of course you are. Why? Because you do not have to stay stuck in this contraction that you've trapped yourself in, my dear. And then 2 Whispers of the Oceans cards to help you along your journey this week. We have, breakthrough to new dimensions. Of course, group 2. Look at how beautiful that card is. That's you. That's you. A new endeavor is on the horizon. Innovative energy wants to burst forth into your consciousness. Absolutely, group 2. Absolutely. And we also have back on task. Yes. Be sure you are using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider reviewing your goals, your schedule, or your project you are working on. All could use some fine tuning. So you have a reinforcement of the underbelly card that we got this week with the looking at the underbelly. Be sure that you're using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider taking time to organize yourself, or perhaps a project you're working on could use some fine tuning. So you've got back on task with the reinforcing of this energy. So I feel like this is saying, come out of the water. Let's get you realigned. Let's start producing things physically. Let's get back to work. Let's bring ourselves back to reality. Let's take showers. Let's do some mundane things to get you back into the groove, get you back into the flow, right? Let's get out of this down. Let's get out of this down because you're breaking through to new dimensions. You're completely breaking through to a new dimension. Completely. This is beautiful energy. Beautiful, 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 beautiful energy for your group too. So that is all I have for you this week with our 7 days ahead reading. I really, really hope you did enjoy it. If it did not resonate, that is okay. Take what did resonate and the rest will absolutely fall away, my dear. You're not obligated to hold on to anything that is not yours. If you do enjoy my vibe and energy, go ahead and hit this video with a like and consider subscribing. It helps my channel grow and flourish, and I would like to reach as many more of you as I can with my vibe. I like it. This is so fun for me. So I hope to see you next week, and in some of the other readings I'll be releasing this week. I have some fun stuff planned. Well, what I think is fun. And I hope to see you next time, group 2. Bye-bye. Hello, soul kin of group 3. Welcome to your 7 days ahead reading. I'm so excited for you. The readings have just been filling me with so much like joy and energy today. I'm just like, yeah, like I'm so hyped. So as always, we'll start with the animal that is supporting you this week, and then we'll get into your oracle cards a little bit later. So let's see what energy is supporting you this week. What animal is bringing you some wisdom, some messages. I like to hold the suspense just a little bit. Oh, we have Swan. I'm so excited for this energy. I saw this card when I was flipping through. I think it was for the reading last week, and I was like, ooh, interesting. Swan. So I'm so excited to see Swan out here this week. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that is what is coming through. This is beautiful, beautiful energy. It seems like this week you're finally finding your footing or finding your grace. You're finding your gracefulness. It's like you're finding your connection to your inner authority, the way you're being guided, the way that you're being kind of tossed and turned by the universe, you know, and the way that you've been kind of fighting this inner drive, this inner desire that you have. It's like your calling. So it's like your calling has been calling out to you, and you've been responding in all these different little ways, and you've been tapping into the energy, tapping out, tapping in, tapping out, kind of putting your feet in the water and taking it back out. But it feels like you're now finally comfortable enough, or getting to a point to where you feel comfortable enough to really test out being in the water for longer. This is what this energy feels like. It feels like you're finally tapping into divine grace, and knowing the flow of life means that you're always supported. Now, I know it's really hard to say that when you see so much tragedy going on around you, but you have to release the comparison that you have to your journey, for your journey to others. We had the comparison card come out twice already, so it may come out for you too, unless you've already transcended it, which I hope you have, because this is the energy of you're not comparing your journey to anybody else's. Really, what is happening, because we live on a planet with collective energy, this is about embracing the role that everyone plays in this life. Because this is a collective endeavor. Nobody is left behind. Death is not this ultimate sacrifice. Death is just a transformation. Death is not paying some price or saying that someone was not good enough or something like that. Because I feel like there are some people who may watch Group 3 who have, I don't want to say the word, but have at a point in their life contemplated, self-harm or suicide or something like that, because they just couldn't find their footing. They couldn't find their place. They couldn't find where they fit in. And it feels like a very tragic energy of experiencing so much lack and so much loss, and trying to figure out, when is it my turn? Am I going to die before that? Am I unworthy of that? Is that why people die? Because they're unworthy? Kind of like this spiraling of trying to understand yourself and understand the energies or the inner workings of a boundless, limitless universe. But I honestly think, and this I'm saying think to get this through, our heads, is to understand that everything on this planet has its place, has its role. And there's some things that has its place and has its role, and it has its time to die. This is not to say that it did not at some point in time add value into our lives or into the world. This is absolutely the absolute opposite of that. This is saying that it's added so much value into the world that is at a point to where it may rest, because it can't even add any more than what it already has. It is added so much that this thing can finally rest. It has gotten you to this point. Now it may disperse. Now it may go back into an energy and be transformed into something different. So I feel like it's hard for people, especially Group 3, because it feels like Group 3 are what you would call high value people. And what I say when I say high value people, I say large ancient souls who have come with a very, very direct mission. Sorry about that, Group 3. We're back to the recording. Okay, all right, so like I was saying, this is like definitely you tapping into like your divine grace this week. Like you're knowing yourself as divinity. Like you know yourself as a divine human being. Like that the same thing that you see within yourself and you see within other people, you see in yourself, and the same thing you see within yourself, you see in other people. You see what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't matter how much money or how much like material things that they have, you still see the same infinite value in you, in yourself, in someone who you would consider someone who doesn't see their value. You just see that infinite value across all boards, across everything, across all beings. And what I meant earlier too about high value people or an existence is a high value. That doesn't mean to say that everybody, there's something below you or there's someone of a lesser value. A high value being knows the cost, the past, present, and the future cost of what it means to chase their dreams, and they don't allow that to stop them from doing that. And they also see their infinite value. So the people who don't see their infinite value are still high value beings. Everything on this planet is still a high value being. It's a being with infinite value. However, there are a lot of people who have internalized, which I'm sure you have too to some extent, and have worked through and have released the internalized conditioning, the internalized capitalistic kind of like mindset or conditioning, where you say this person has this, and this, they have this much money, this much popularity, this much, these many assets. That means that they're more valuable than another person. They're more valuable than another being. And we have these people who sit up here and hoard money, and they try to act like they're more valuable than other people or other beings. So they think that they can just destroy the earth and do all these things and control all these political, pieces, and do all this crazy stuff behind the scenes because they feel like they have more value, so their life has more value, so they want to benefit themselves more than they benefit others. So they create this level of separation that says you are a lesser value being, but I'm high value because of my assets, because of my money, because of my material. That is not what I'm saying here. When I say high value being, this is a being who knows themselves and knows everything as infinite, as an infinite value. That's what I'm saying. And the reason why it's good to point out that level of high value is because you allow yourself to shine that radiance, and you allow yourself to stand in that value, that infinite value, and other people can model that. They can see that and say, you know what, I see this person doing it, so I can do it too. It's a beautiful thing. What you're doing is you're taking yourself and you're saying, I'm high value no matter how much money I have, no matter what I look like, no matter how many cars, how many clothes, how many people, whatever, no matter what I even achieve in this life, my life is high value. The purpose, the purpose of this life is the journey, and the journey is the value, not some destination, not, tapping into divine flow or abundance because you're tired of scarcity consciousness. This is not that. This is, you see yourself as a high value being. You see everything as a high value being because you understand and know the value of everything, the roles that everything plays in this life, all the beautiful past things that had to happen that literally are the reason why you exist today. Like there could have been one minor change in the past that meant that you didn't exist, and you're understanding the magic in the flow of the world. There's a song lyric that's coming up, but I can't fully remember it, but it's from a song called More by Flying Lotus featuring Anderson .Paak. And then there's a line in there where Anderson says, when all the laws of attraction break all the walls I was trapped in. That is coming through very, very strongly for me. That is like definitely the energy you're on, group. You're understanding that the law of attraction is literally your natural state. You're understanding that the law of attraction is everything's natural state, and everything is either choosing to constrict that or contort or contract in that or expand into it, and we're doing both pretty much every single day, and you're tapping into that flow. you're tapping into the flow of how important it is on days where you need to contract. And when you contract, you're understanding that this is you setting boundaries, closing off, recharging, rejuvenating, recalibrating, learning, growing, and then when you open up and expand, that's when you get to share all that beautiful magic and that creative flow with the world. You're understanding these hibernation modes and these open, like, sharing modes, kind of like the moon and the sun. The moon and the sun, you're tapping into that flow. That's basically what you're doing. And I love this energy so much for you, group 3. It's like definitely taking you a while to get here to this like level of understanding, but it's like you did it, and it's almost like too, you're like, spiritual team is like cheering or chanting, or they're chanting something. There's like a chant, or like I hear like drums, like a drum circle around you, and like I see someone who I presume is you in the middle, like dancing, and there's like this fire, and it's like at night. It's really beautiful how I see it, but it does feel like some type of like shamanic, like drumming or dancing or something like that. Like they're surrounding you and they're just like chanting. Yeah, this is definitely like divine flow. This is you finding your footing. Like you're finally finding your footing. Like you're not fighting so much more for one side versus the other. It's just walking that straight line and flowing right down the middle and trusting the curves and the bends of the universe, because you can't really, there's a lot in this life that you simply can't control, especially when you're attuned to your highest attunement or your higher authority. There are ways in which your higher self is just going to pull you, and you just don't have a choice. You're just going to have this urge and have this desire, no matter how crazy it may seem, or you don't know why you have it. You just have it, and you feel like you will lose, out on life and upgrades and the beauty that is life if you don't respond to it. So this is you like tapping into that like innate, like, the word is funny, it's like, I'm not gonna use that word, but it's like tapping into your innate like beast, like animal, like instincts, but also tapping into your higher power, like creating a bridge between the two, knowing that your instinct is always going to drive you, but also knowing that your higher power is your choice. Your higher power is your choice. Your higher power is your choice. Your higher power, there's a level of guidance there too, but that guidance, that is the beast. That is your body picking up that energy. That is your body taking that energy in and kind of like sniffing the place out. You know what I'm saying? And like kind of like navigating everything and trying to like figure out like, what is it here? Not even the beast, but like your animal side, your human body is what actually cooks and translates and puts a language to what you're receiving. And then the higher authority, which is you, your higher self, your higher power, is what kind of sets everything into motion. So all the challenges that you experience too, your spiritual team just wants you to know that you, in conjunction with them, created your challenges. And they're saying that you already understand this and you know this, but they want to reiterate that they want you to understand that you created those for yourself because you knew how important it was for you to get to the other side prepared and unscathed, they're saying. And I'm like, unscathed? You've been through a lot. There's a lot of stuff that kind of like cause what you would think would be wounding, but now I tap into the energy and I'm going to the wounds and I'm like, oh wow, they're all actually, the wounds are sewn up. Actually the wounds have been catered to by going through the wounding, by going through physically what you thought was challenging. That was getting you into this footing. It's like basically riding a bike. You have the not tricycles, you have the training wheels, and you start taking the training wheels off. You have somebody behind you helping you, pushing you and stuff like that, but eventually that person's going to let go and they're going to watch you doing it on your own. And this is kind of that energy where now you're kind of like being let go and you're like being allowed to flow on your own. You're not like really so codependent on someone else's energy or even a spirit, the energy of a spirit or a higher authority trying to guide you. They're always going to guide you, but they want you to see that they are already always in front of you, not behind you, not like trying to always constantly run for them for some confirmation, like please did I do this right? Like they want you to trust yourself and trust that you know what you're doing. And I feel like you're tapping into that energy this week, group 3. Like you're trusting that you know what you're doing, because spirit and your spiritual team have like full faith in you, and they just kind of want you to uncurl from this codependency a little bit, where you always need like this confirmation. And if you don't get the confirmation, or you don't get the confirmation that you like, then you spiral. what they want to do is pull back from that because they don't want you to spiral, continuously spiral. And in order for you to do that, you have to trust yourself, know yourself, and trust what is flowing through you, and trust the flow that you're tapped into, and trust that your guides and spirit is always 10 steps ahead of you, always. So whatever needs to be brought to you, they already have it laid out 10 steps ahead of you. So the next step you take, you don't have to worry so much about it. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep flowing, really. It's really nice energy, like tapping into that, like, that birthright energy, you know, like everybody has that spirit, you know, like, or that energy, like 10 steps ahead of them. Everybody has this, almost this level of entitlement. And love this. First of all, we have the devil with conditioning, and it feels so in reverse, and it flew out in reverse. Cards are just flying everywhere. And then we have, so we have the King of Wands with Creator. We have the King of Pentacles with Abundance. We have the Seven of Cups with Projections. And we have the Nine of Cups with Laziness. And this feels very, very reversed. Like very, very reversed. And then bottom deck, we have, and look, the Ace of Wands comes out too. We have Source. I'll bring Source out here too. And then bottom deck, we have the Eight of Swords, which comes out again for the second time today with Guilt. Yeah, it's like you're tapping out of this guilt that was attached to this conditioning. So basically, what I really love about this card is that it is a lion in sheep's clothing, and it's basically like, take this as like what is his name? Simba from the Lion King. So Simba was basically raised by a prey animal, something that it was meant to like prey on and eat, and it was conformed, and basically Simba was, he would shrink himself down so that he was more likable and more digestible for, you know, the prey animals that he became friends with. And this is you kind of tapping out of that energy. Like, you don't have to conform or contort yourself in order to fit in a space that you simply don't fit in with. And that is all across the board. That is friends, that's family, that's foe. You know, you're tapping into the flow, and you're understanding how everybody plays a role, and everybody is choosing how they play that role, how they grow, how they shrink, how they expand within it. You know what I'm saying? And this card to me always represents like this beautiful big thing that has been contorted to fit down to something that's more palpable, something that's more digestible, something that is easier to deal with, you know, because a sheep is much easier to deal with than a lion, right? So this is that energy. This is that energy that you're on. You're moving out of, you're flowing out of these old levels of conditioning that you really, really did have internalized at one point. And you're moving into the responsibility that is the creator, the observer, the core of your beingness, that flow, that understanding that I am never without. You know what I'm saying? And you literally have abundance right over here with the King of Pentacles coming out as well. Now, this Nine of Cups is really, really talking to me, and it's saying that there is some level of projection here where you feel like there's a fear here that if you tap into ease, comfort, and flow, that means that you're a lazy person or that you're not willing to do the work. And I honestly hear Spirit and your spiritual team saying, but didn't you ask for ease and comfort and flow? And we're offering that to you, so why do you think that is lazy? And they really want you to take some time to reframe that projection that you have when it comes to how you see other people and how you see hard work and labor. They're saying not to put so much value on what you think hard work and labor is. Just because someone may have an easier life than you doesn't mean, financially, doesn't mean that they're not having a harder time in other realms, like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and things like that. They really want you to reframe how you see hard work. They're not giving me any more than that because I feel like that's a lesson that you have to learn on your own. It's kind of like they're setting up the lesson plan for you to reevaluate how you see hard work. Like what does hard work mean, and what does hard work actually warrant you when it comes to value? Because there's a fear here that you have of laziness. There's a fear here that if you release your conditioning and your guilt, that you are going to be lazy, that you're not going to do anything, that you're not going to be useful or valuable to the world. And it seems like you're coming out of that energy, but there's still like a little, I feel a little fear still here. You're also afraid of how other people will look at you. If you have the easy life and you have people around you who don't have an easy life, and you don't plan on making their life any easier because that's not your obligation, it honestly feels like you're afraid at how they're going to look at you. With the Seven of Cups over here, you're afraid of their projections, which what they're basically doing is projecting their own lack consciousness onto you. They're saying, I can't afford to live a life like that. How come they think that they're valuable enough to live a life like that? This is exactly why at the beginning of this reading I called you a high value person, because you know your value. People who are not high value people just don't know their value. It does not mean that they are less valuable than you. They just don't know their value. You're someone who knows your value, a high value person, or someone who knows their value. That's the definition of a high value person to me. High value person to me, again, has nothing to do with money and cars and clothes and all these assets. High value is just someone who respects that core thing that is in them right there. Literally every single being, every single thing on this planet has that. The same thing Mother Earth has, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of people just don't recognize that. And because people have a lack and they don't recognize that in their own self, when they see people who do recognize that, they want to attack them because they're like, I don't see it in my own self, so since I don't see it, I don't believe it. That's basically what that energy is. So you're releasing the guilt that you have attached to this level of conditioning that says that in order to be relatable, in order to be a real human being, you have to work hard, and you have to be, you have to rise the ranks and rags to riches, and you have to like take on that type of energy, which is just not, absolutely just not the case. Anyway, sorry about that, group 3. I don't, earlier in the day I had a little more privacy, but I don't have that same level of privacy now, so I have to keep pausing when there's just too much noise going on. I forgot where I was. I'm not even going to cap. But there's definitely a message coming through too, where when it comes to these high levels of projections, and people projecting their own lack, and people not respecting your boundaries, and people just not being really inconsiderate of you and your space and stuff like that, it's just one of those things where you just have to respect that you're not, like, your energy and who you are, you're just like not ordinary, you're not necessarily the typical person who's going to allow certain things to kind of flow through them and kind of just do what it will. You're definitely someone who is going to tap into wanting to transform, wanting to grow, wanting to be different. It's just your natural design. It's just how you is. It's just how you are. So it's really about I feel like this group too is really about finding your footing. This is also about finding your own space, and also finding spaces with and around people who can help fuel you and help build you up, besides people who would prefer to tear you down and bring you down more to their level and their space. And again, this is not about being better or being worse. It's just people are more comfortable when they're around people of the similar frequency. So if you find yourself in a space where you're not necessarily happy based on the way people act or their behavior or their frequency, it's one of those telltale signs that there's a shift, there's a transition that needs to happen. Because what happens is there just becomes a lot of resentment, a lot of projecting, a lot of unrespected boundaries, a lot of unrespected space and things like that. So this is probably definitely my pile. But this is also too just like letting go of people, places, and things that just aren't that. I think it's really, really hard to do and really, really hard to like bring about. But I feel like there's a lot of guilt. There's always a lot of guilt attached to that, because there's this idea there that you feel like, oh no, I'm just acting entitled, or like I'm better than everybody or anything or something like that. No, that is completely false. You are allowed to feel the way you feel about yourself, about your body, about your craft, and the things that you want want to do with yourself and do with your dreams in the world. And other people can feel the way that they feel, but that should not supersede what you feel. That should never ever supersede what you feel, because there's a lot of people who are going to be like, how'd you do this so fast, or how'd you get this, or how'd you get that? You know, they're going to probably project at you and think that you're lazy because they've been doing X amount of work, or they did X amount of things and they haven't reached the level which you reached. But it's just a different scenario for you. Why? Because of who you are, your natural design, your frequency, and your willingness to tap into this flow, your willingness to transition, change, shift, change your beliefs, grow, not stay stagnant, walk through fear, your bravery, your bravery, your bravery. Your bravery is a huge thing here, especially when it comes to guilt and conditioning. Your bravery and even your simple willingness to believe that there's abundance out there for everybody, and to believe that this core is yours and that it literally lives within you and everybody. It takes a lot of bravery to man that, and to actually think, yeah, like, this is for me. It takes a lot of bravery to stand up to people's projections and people projecting their lack at you, you know, and what they believe for their own self. So they want to limit you because they can't afford you. So they want to lower your price or your value so that you reach them. It takes a lot of courage and power to say, no, this is my boundary. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of power. So I feel like that's something you've been doing, something that you've been practicing. And I honestly feel like Spirit is coming through and saying, you're not lazy. You are no coward. You've been doing great work. You really, really need to understand that, like, hard work isn't just limited to physical manual labor. Spiritual work, emotional work, mental work is all work, and it's all worth the same respect that you would give physical work. Just because you see a janitor working 80 times a week, they should not have more value than a psychiatrist working 80 hours a week. You know, it's still a mental strain. It's still a strain. It's still a physical drain. It's still exerting energy for something outside of its own self. Even when it's for inside your own self, it's still a using of energy. It's still a consumption of energy. And I feel like that's what you're starting to really understand. So it seems like you've been in this transition to where you've been understanding how to self-regulate, how to tap into your own healing modalities, and really understanding when you need to expand, when you need to contract, and also tapping into this high level of understanding of the law of attraction. That the law of attraction is not something you do, or you can, you know, that you have to like go listen to some binaural beat on freaking YouTube in order to harness. You're understanding that every single human being is constantly, every single thing is constantly trapped in, or not even trapped, but enraptured by, or is in the flow of law of attraction. It's just a natural law of life, and you're either resisting it and fighting it and making it harder for yourself, or you're making it easier for yourself. Really, that is really the thing, the biggest thing here for your group. So I feel like this week you'll definitely be tapping into that energy and kind of like understanding that, gaining a higher level of clarity on that, especially with this new moon, especially on this new moon. I feel like when the new moon hits, it's really, really going to phone home for you, and you're really, really going to understand, oh, this is what I've been doing. Because it seems I just feel like there's some fear of laziness in my gut, like this fear of, oh, I've been lazy because I haven't did this or I haven't did that. It's like, no, like Spirit is like, you've been overworking is what you've been doing, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. You've been overworking, and you've already done enough. So I honestly feel like that's the energy that's coming through for you. So let's get into your oracle cards this week. Your chakra wisdom card is willpower and determination, of course, with the throat chakra. I set clear boundaries for my own behavior, and I cultivate a strong will by being true to myself. I use my willpower to accomplish my daily tasks and spiritual goals, and to encourage uplifting thoughts and behaviors in myself. Doing this will assist me on the next stage of my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. I stay in touch with my positive thoughts and truth by avoiding substance abuse. My will is strong and my mind is clear. Yep, that is definitely you this week. Group 3. This is definitely a group week. This is a good week for you, Group 3, for sure. I feel like this is the week. It's kind of like a tipping point, or like a starting point for you of really understanding that you've literally been doing everything perfectly. You've literally been doing everything that you needed to do. And then your Moonology card for this week, we have take time to breathe out. Yes, because you've been overworking, and if I feel like Spirit and your spiritual team have been telling you that for months, and you've still just been like plowing through so that you can reach this level of understanding. And then the message from the Dawn Bringer spiritual team, you have the Fool. Honor and respect where you are. Every day is a new opportunity. Yep, that's that new beginning energy coming through. And then last but not least, your Whispers of the Ocean card. We have distinctive potential. Rely on your faith and the knowledge that nothing is impossible. Use your determination to hang in there until you realize a goal. Yep, this is definitely you. I feel like, honestly, you've been clearing out and manifesting a lot, and you didn't understand that. You thought that what was going to happen was the physical was going to happen first and everything else was going to happen later, but it's actually the exact opposite. The emotional, mental, and spiritual cleansing for you, which you designed, is happening first, and then the physical is rolling in. You're just like another group. I said this in another group, but really right now, group 3, you're just waiting for the physical realm to catch up. You're just waiting for the physical realm to catch up. So I honestly feel like that's why your spiritual team, I can hear your spiritual team like, please, like, take a break. Like, I still hear the drumming and stuff, but it's like the drumming feels like, this does feel like the break too. Like, this is the break. Like, this is the dance. Like, this is the play. Like, this is the joy. Like, let us actually feel joy about what we're doing, besides feeling like I have to do all this work to attain a goal or to achieve a goal or to reach some place higher than my own self. You're already there. Now what they want you to do is just introduce more joy into your life, because just know yourself and other things as source, and the abundance is just flowing in. I can feel it. It's just, you're already touching it energetically, mentally, spiritually. You're already touching it, and it's like the physical, it's just taking its time, you know. It's like the physical really wants this to be good and perfect for you. So I really, really love that. And there's like a lot of variables, you know, right? Like I was saying about the past, all the beautiful things that just had to align in order for you to be here. Literally, all the beautiful things are aligning right now in order to get you where you're going, to realize your goal. So please hang in there, group 3. Hang in there. So that is all I'm seeing for this reading. I'm sorry it was kind of a little sporadic. I kind of like lost some places, but I still hope you got the message. As always, if it did not resonate, that is okay. Just take what did, and the rest will absolutely fall away. You don't have to hold on to anything that is not yours. If you do like my vibe and energy, go ahead and consider subscribing. So you know it helps the channel flow and flourish, which is always nice. And then you go ahead and hit the like button on this video too, to let me know if you like it. And let me know down in the comments what's going on this week. I would love to know. So I really, really hope to see you back next week, group 3, and enjoy the rest of your magical freaking week. Bye-bye. Hello, group 4. This is for all of our friends who chose the crystal quartz for their reading today. We'll get into your energies of this week. So as always, we'll start with the power animal, and then we'll get into your oracle cards a little bit later. So let's see what power animal will be supporting you, helping you out this week. You have the blank. I knew that there was a blank out here. There's always a blank. Out of the freaking 50-something cards, there are only 9 blanks, and I always get 1 in 4 piles. You know, like, what are the odds? I don't know. There's probably like somebody out there who like can mathematically like calculate that. I'm not that one, so let's see what you got. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this is definitely flamingo energy. Interesting. This is the second bird we had come out this week. No, third. This is the third bird. We have 3 birds this week. That makes sense with the Aquarius air energy. Okay. So it seems like this is a message that is very much like another group. However, there is... Okay, so embrace how unique you are and how unique your journey and your path has been, is, and will be. It is something that is very extraordinary. don't allow, not don't allow, but you know, like, because it's hard to say don't, because you have those moments where you do allow and you feel bad because you're like, no, I could have done better. But you know, this is challenging stuff. But there's an energy here. Just don't allow people to derail you based on your uniqueness. So when you're doing something that's very unique to you and who you are as a being, don't allow people who are inconsiderate to you and who you are as a person to derail you. This is basically an energy of embracing your uniqueness and not allowing people to weaponize your uniqueness against you, you know? So like the person you are and how you allow yourself, they're basically saying, the energy is coming through basically saying, don't allow yourself to feel so victimized or weaponized by your own uniqueness, the beauty that can flow through you. Because it's something that can only come through you. It can only flow through you. So this is about acceptance of yourself. And this is also about acceptance. Like if there's a high level of like accepting when other people's energies are just not in align with that. I feel a lot of resistance towards that. And I feel like this is a very, very tagged on to like money and career energies this week, because I feel like a lot of times we're all in workspaces that don't really feed us or benefit us. They don't have nutrient for us. And for those people who do have that, which is really cool and really nice, you know, this is not the message for you. But I feel like for group 4, you have some type of unique power, some type of unique ability that you've tapped into, you've unlocked, and you're adding your own beautiful like flavor to it, and you're afraid that people aren't going to receive it because it's not how it's typically served. So that is the energy that I'm picking up. Sorry about that pause, group 4. But anyway, this is about embracing your unique ability. This is about embracing your colors, your uniqueness. This is also about not allowing people to take that from you. Like say if you have like this unique thing that you like to do, and somebody's like, that's stupid, that's never gonna manifest into anything, that's never gonna get you anywhere. Basically, it's that energy of like not allowing the naysayers to get in your way. Basically, that's all it is. It's like very, very beautiful energy that's coming through, because I just see like this beautiful flamingo, and I feel like I see it like changing through all these colors, and it changes through like the baby stage when it's like gray, and then I see pink and blue and purple and greens, and it's just like so vibrant and standing out in like like this, like the almost at like the end of the shoreline, and they're just like birds in the sky, and there's like this beautiful like high sunset behind it, and it's just like so chill and so beautiful, and it's like no matter the waves, no matter what, this flamingo is just doing, it's just chilling, it's just doing what it wants to do, and it's just like changing in color. It's just like extraordinary the way that it looks, and like anything that tries to like interfere with that, I don't see anything physically, but it's almost like energetically, like things, or like emotionally or mentally, anything that is trying to like interfere with that, it's just kind of like bouncing off of the flamingo. Like that's what it looks like. It just feels like there are going to be people in your life, friends, family, and foe, that don't respect what you're doing and don't see your vision. They can't share that same vision with you because they don't have that same vision for their own self. And there's just a level of respect that you have to have for their boundary and for where they are in their life. You can't, you know, it's not the responsibility to change them is not on you. But there's always kind of like this weird thing that happens with people who have set those own boundaries for themselves, where they like to bring other people down underneath those boundaries as well, to fit with them there because it's more comfortable, because it feels like, oh, when they see other people going past their own boundaries that they set for themselves, it feels very challenging for them, because they feel like, oh, if that person did this, that means that it's capable through me, but they don't want to put in the time, the energy, the effort, etc., in order to make that possible. You know what I'm saying? So that's what is really, really challenging about people who have set those limitations for their own self. So always remember too, when you are interacting with other people like this, don't feel guilty about your boundary. Don't feel guilty about your boundary. Don't feel guilty about your boundary. This is being echoed in my vision, because there's this tendency when you feel guilty about your own boundary, you're not respecting yourself or your boundary, and you're also not respecting the fact that that other person has a limitation or a boundary that they have also set for themselves that you are also not meeting. They're literally saying, you will not come down here with me, and I will not come up there with you. So therefore, this is my boundary. You either respect me where I am and come to where I am, or I don't want to allow myself to love you fully, because it's a self-imposed limitation, right? And you're saying the same thing. Hey, if you don't come up here and rise and meet me, and you don't come through and pass through my boundary, and you don't have the requirements to pass through my boundary, then I cannot love you fully. And what I mean by loving fully is giving someone full access. That is actually what I want to say, because you can completely love someone fully with boundaries. This is why I want to rephrase that. You are basically saying you cannot have full access to me. And this person is also saying you cannot have full access to me. So it's two people meeting with boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just you, just like, oh, I am doing my own thing and I'm progressing in life, and so I should have this survivor's guilt because I set my boundaries or my limitations higher, or my standards actually higher. So I'm going to keep going for those. And the people who don't do that and want you to meet them where they are, it's just like no, you don't have to feel guilty about that. Like, it's just the role and the life that they're choosing to live for their own self, you know. And you can inspire, but you can influence, but you cannot change. You can inspire, you can influence, but you cannot change. So I feel like a lot grew for your medicine. Your flamingo medicine this week is about embracing your uniqueness and being considerate of your own boundaries, like understanding that when you're meeting somebody with a boundary, they're meeting you with a boundary too. It's not just you just being an asshole, which I feel like you think you are. It's like, oh, I'm being an asshole, or I'm being a bad person because I'm putting this boundary here. But it's like, no, you don't know what this person's going through. Look at what flew out. Understanding. Exactly. And that's our bird. There's your confirmation right there. You know what I'm saying? This is in word understanding. Like, you're understanding, like, no, like, this person, you know, in these things, these ideas, these habits, these behaviors, just, they don't have any power over me. We also have intensity. We have inner voice with the high priestess, and we also have flowering. And we also have success. I love how vibrant and colorful this deck is too, like with this energy that we're picking up. It's like, look at that. We have the beautiful, I love the Queen of Pentacles in this deck. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. She's amazing. And then we also have inner voice. And I feel like inner voice is in reverse because you're struggling with this boundary thing. I feel like this boundary thing is hard for you, because there's almost this energy of how, like, who gives me the right to place boundaries and to say that this person or this thing, you know, can't have access to me. I feel like this is you, like, tapping into that trust and that inner voice. And then we have intensity, which I believe is the Knight of Wands. And then we have understanding with I want to say it's the Page. I believe the Page are this arrow and the Knights are this arrow, but I could be wrong. But either way, you'll know, like, oh, it's the opposite. But yeah, this is definitely, I love this intensity card. This is definitely you. You have a very intense energy about you, and just natural. It's like you burst through anything that is put in your way. You just burst through barriers. You burst through limitations. It's funny, this is a song lyric too, but they set the bar, you raise the bar. This is that energy. This is just, you're someone who constantly, you have the courage to push past your own limits. You have the courage to push past what you believe you think and what you believe that you believe. this inner voice card is really, really speaking to me. Like you're just it just feels like the last peg for you that needs to be turned is just unconditional trust in yourself, and just loving yourself and loving others as you love yourself. And it's funny because there's this energy here of like understanding how to love yourself boundlessly with boundaries. This is something I've been working on with two friends of mine who I love them so much, and like we all help each other like work through some of these like deeper energies, because it's really, really hard stuff. Honestly, if you're working through some type of like thick layers, shadow work and stuff like that, you need a support team, you need a support group. Like you need support for sure. You need support for sure. For sure. Here, I just want to bring success into the equation. But it definitely feels like you're just someone who you just have this natural tendency to go above and beyond. But there's a fear of like trusting yourself fully, trusting your inner knowing, trusting your inner voice. It seems like you always create stipulations. It's like you create stipulations around your trust and your ability to trust your own self. And this is the understanding that you're moving towards, and this is your next level of understanding. So I honestly feel like this is why we have flowering here right after the inner voice and the flamingo energy, because I feel like you're gonna have a lot of success with this. Like it's going, like you're finally gonna get to that like that breather energy, you know, where it's kind of like you blossom. That's the energy. You blossom, you open, you blossom. And what you've been manifesting can flow into you freely. But it's like you create these stipulations for yourself. You create these climates for yourself. This came up in another group. You create these climates for yourself that says, I cannot go to A unless I have B. But I see the difference. I see the difference in your reading, because you're basically saying, I need gas for my car. Basically, like I need fuel for my vehicle, my human vehicle. And there's like an energetic frequency of understanding that you're moving into. This is about, I feel like group 4 too, this is about respecting other people's space, other people's boundaries, respecting your space, respecting your boundaries, and knowing when they simply don't mesh, and knowing when you're around when you're in a space where you are not allowed to be your full self, how compromising that is to you, how you open, how you close, and how you not contemplate, but how you disregard, I don't know why I said contemplate, but how you disregard your inner voice. It seems like you have a tendency to disregard your inner voice when you're in spaces where you're just energetically not attuned, because you try to fit, you're like a chameleon. You try to fit into that space. Does that make sense? Like you try to fit into that space to like make it more comfortable for you and others. But I feel like when you do that, you don't respect your own boundaries and what you need in this life to live a happy, healthy, successful, abundant life. And that is exactly what you're moving towards. That is exactly the level of understanding and the level of opening that you're moving towards. You're opening up to this level of vulnerability and receptivity that is just very, very large and expansive. And this is just respecting. This is just loving others as you love yourself, loving others fully. I'm glad that I reframed that, like mid-reading, like loving yourself and loving others fully, but also respecting other people and your own boundaries. Because what happens is when you don't respect your own boundaries and you have people disrespecting your boundaries, there's resentment. And it is vice versa, right? There's always like this battle of resentment and anger and frustration that happens, when really the best thing that needs to happen is for you to recognize that this is not the situation that needs to happen for you or other people, and then you create your way to move out of it. You create your way to move out. You surrender to this higher craving that you have to move forward. Does that make sense? Like you surrender to the higher craving, because it seems like there's this tendency you have to kind of shrink and close your inner voice, and you kind of like mask it in gratitude, like, oh, I'm in this limitation and I'm in this lack, but I'm just gonna mask it in gratitude. And it's like, you're not in lack, you're fine. And you're exactly where you need to be, but you're exactly where you need to be in order for you to come into this level of understanding, like this realization, this epiphany. So I feel like you're going to have like an epiphany moment this week where you're like, oh, that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to shrink myself and trying to like starve off my desires because I don't want other people to see me grow or prosper or eat without them. You know, there's like this fear, because it's like you love people fully and unconditionally, and you want to see the same beautiful things in your life that you see for others. But if they don't see them for their own self, then what really can you do, right? So there's this power play that you have, or this powerlessness that you're afraid to have when you fully let go of other people's journeys. And when you embrace how unique and beautiful your journey is, and theirs is too. Their journey is just as beautiful and just as unique as yours, but you have to understand that. You have to embrace that level of understanding. And just because if you flower and you come into wealth, abundance, money, and things like that, that doesn't mean that you did any better than them. This is just you stepping into alignment and stepping onto your highest journey. That's really it. Why? Because of the limitations that you were willing to break through, the things that you were willing to do, the things that you were willing to change, the beliefs that you were willing to change, the habits that you were willing to break, the behaviors that you were willing to change, the challenges that you were willing to burst through. This is that intensity. This is you. This is literally you. This is that flamingo energy I was picking up earlier when I was like, it's going from purple to green and pink and all these different colors. Like, that is you. Bursting towards this level of understanding of self and everything else. It's like you can't save everybody on your journey, but you also can't feel guilty about what other people are willing and unwilling to do. Like, you can't feel guilty about that. And I honestly feel like that is going to help you. Understanding that you can't feel guilty about what other people are willing and unwilling to do for their own lives based upon what you are willing and unwilling to do for your own life. That's really just the game that you're playing, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to go through that. Other people are willing to go through this. Other people are willing to go through that. That's really just it. That's really just it. So you're just embracing how unique your journey is and how other people's journey is, and you're like separating it from this guilt. You're just embracing the uniqueness, your own colors, the way that you're meant to experience life is what you're embracing. And you're in the power of your choice and how you shift and tap into frequency is what you're changing. Ooh, inner voice wants to be flipped. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just like sit and resonate with this energy for a little bit, because there's a gift in this imagery. There's a gift in this imagery. There's so much more to life, There's so much more to life when you know that and you want to experience it. There's so much more to life. Let's get into your oracle cards for this week. So your chakra wisdom card is responsibility. Yep. I plant myself on solid ground by consistently taking responsibility and having personal accountability for all that I do. I allow others to depend on me being responsible. My actions speak louder than my words. I rise above excess and overindulgences as I forgive myself for my past indiscretions. I know I could not have acted in a more evolved way than I was able to at the time. Yep, this is also like taking responsibility for who you are as a person, and like allowing other people to do the same thing. This is like the energy of like not trying to fix everybody, because you like the only person you can heal and the only person you can ever really save is yourself. This is taking responsibility for your own self. This is taking responsibility for your own actions, and this is allowing other people to do the same, not enabling them. And then your Moonology card for this week, we have expect powerful change with the new moon eclipse. Of course. Same energy. Same energy. And then the message from the Dawn Bringer spiritual team, we have 10 of Cups with I release all that no longer serves my highest good. Absolutely, like we were saying. Just like we were saying. You know, like you can't, like, you just have to recognize when it's all said and done, you know, it's all like it's all about frequency when you take it to the basics of the basics. You know what I'm saying? This is what the 10 of Cups is saying. And then our Whispers of the Ocean card for this week, we have surrounded by prosperity. Look at that, group 4. Your attention is being drawn to the infinite nature of reality. That which exists outside the known is beyond measure. Ooh. Yeah. I feel like you're coming in. Yeah. Expect powerful change and surrounded by prosperity. 10 of Cups, success, understanding, flowering, responsibility. Like what else can you say? What else can you say? I honestly hope this week you really tap into that energy of really understanding that your journey is your own unique creation and a co-creation with the world around you. You know, like you can learn so much from the people, the places, the things around you and what other beings are doing. However, that does not mean you have to allow other things and other people and other places to constantly compromise what you know is best for your own self. You know what I'm saying? And when I say best for your own self, like what you're feeling intuitively, the truth, the actual honest truth, what you're actually needing. You know what I'm saying? So, there you go, group 4. This week is very beautiful for you. Just embracing that uniqueness, embracing your unique journey, tapping into that frequency of knowing, hey, our frequencies just don't vibe. I'm releasing all that does not serve me. And I'm continuing on. I'm moving higher. I'm doing whatever it is I need to do to get me to my next level of beingness. And you're taking full responsibility for doing so. And I want you to know, too, that taking full responsibility for doing so is also listening to your inner voice. So that is communing with your spiritual team, communing with spirit, trusting that there are some things in the universe that you cannot do for yourself so that you allow spirit to do for you. There's another group, and I feel like I need to say it in this group as well, that spirit wants to be and is always 10 steps ahead of you. Always, all the time. So tap into that inner voice, trust your inner knowing, because that is your saving grace. You know, that is the energy, that is the frequency of flow that you want to be on. You know, you don't have to like contort for other people or try to tap out of that because of what other people view you as, or other people's vision of you and other people's dreams for you, what other people want you to do. You know what I'm saying? This is just you tapping into your own divine flow and allowing that to flow out, because your own divine flow is literally made of abundance, of infinite prosperity and grace and unconditional love. So, group 4. Now I'm going to wrap it. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If it did not resonate, that is absolutely okay. Take what resonates and the rest will fall away. You are under no obligation to hold on to anything that is not yours. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit it with a like. And if you do like my energy and my vibe, go ahead and subscribe. That helps me in the algorithm, and it lets me know like who's out there watching me. I like it. I want to be more like interactive, you know, and interact with commenting and stuff like that. So absolutely. And I really hope to see you more this week and next week for our week ahead reading as well. And I'll wrap this, and I'll see you next time, friend. Bye-bye.